What is going on, guys? It is Friday, which means that it's time for another episode of my News Radar. And let's start things off by talking about battery life. We've got some new devices coming out very, very soon. Some people already have them in their hands. And in these upcoming reviews, battery life is always something that is very much talked about. It is extremely important. Of course, in this instance, we're talking about the Z Flip 4 and the Z Fold 4, and some testing by YouTuber Tech Droider has revealed some very interesting stuff. Of course, I will link to the entire video down below. Today, we're just going to be looking at some of the results at the very end. So if you want to see the full methodology of how they're testing battery life, definitely check out the full video. But basically, they put the devices through quite the obstacle course. The screens are on the entire time. They're jumping from task to task and even playing games and things like that to really try and tax the battery. And at the end, we get to see which phones last the longest, as well as what temperature they were whenever they died. Now, when we're talking about devices like the Z Fold and the Z Flip, battery life has never been like one of their strongest points, right? In particular, the Z Flip, not the best battery life. A lot of people really knock that as being the worst part of the device. My wife daily drives one and she's able to make it through the day okay, but she's not like a heavy power user. Someone else that needs, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of screen on time, like something that an iPhone or really top-end battery phone can get you. Well, the Z Flip was always kind of towards the other end of the spectrum. That's not going to be a good device for that kind of individual. Now, for me, the Fold was always okay. I could get 5, 6, 7 hours of screen time, and that usually equated to unplugging at 6:30 or 7 in the morning and being on fumes usually by the end of the day. I'm going to bed 9, 9:30. Usually, fumes might be a bit of a strong statement. Probably like 20, 25% battery left remaining. So the Fold was never that bad for me. The Flip was always worse. Well, it looks like with some of the changes being made, now the Z Flip has a bigger battery. I want to say it's like 400 milliamp hours bigger. I believe that's correct. The Fold stays the same, but they're both now running the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, which is a very efficient chip. And with those changes, the battery life seems to be improving quite a bit. And let's look at these results to see that. So you can see the lineup here, S22 Ultra, OnePlus 10 Pro. I believe that's the Xiaomi 12S Ultra. That is an iPhone 13, I believe. Does it say it's the Pro Max? Yes, it is. Z Fold 4, Z Flip 4. And the first one to die was the S22 Ultra. And that's not really shocking to me. 8 hours and 56 minutes on this test. Like I said earlier, it is a heck of a test. There's a lot going on this. And so that's not a terrible, awful score. But it's not that great either. For a top flagship phone, not super great. Next up, though, was the Z Flip 4, which means that the Z Flip 4 actually fared better than the S22 Ultra, and by not a huge margin, but 8 minutes there. Next up was the Z Fold 4 with 9 hours and 18 minutes. At that point, it's actually outperforming the S22 Ultra pretty handily. And it's really important to remember on this, if we go back to any other portion of this test, that the Fold 4 has its main screen, the tablet screen, open the entire time. So it's performing better in terms of battery life than the S22 Ultra with an enormous tablet screen. That is very impressive. We'll move through the rest of these a bit more quickly because they're not as relevant to this channel. But next up was the OnePlus 10 Pro, which beat the Fold by 1 minute. So you're getting a device that can effectively match the battery life on the OnePlus 10 Pro while having a screen that's like twice the size and a battery that is 600 milliamp hours smaller. This is very impressive. Then the Xiaomi 12S Ultra with 9 hours and 38 minutes. That is a great score. And then, of course, the iPhone 10 hours and 35 minutes. Nobody beats the iPhone in terms of efficiency. In terms of battery life, it just is what it is. Android phones just aren't that good at battery when compared to the iPhone. There's loads of reasons for that. The iPhones can have batteries that are way smaller than Android phones can and still last longer. Just how it works. But at any rate, I think that those are both really respectable and solid scores for the Z Fold and the Z Flip. And I think pretty good reason to expect pretty good battery life out of both of these devices. I will have the Fold 4 in my hands just as soon as Samsung decides to send it to me. And I will, of course, have my own full review and reporting on how that battery life treated me when compared to something like my Fold 2 or, of course, my beloved Surface Duo 2. Stay tuned for that and subscribe so you don't miss it. News story number 2 is a little bit of a weird one. It's actually been several days now since the August update for Surface Duo and Surface Duo 2 were released. I was able to grab my Duo 2 and my Duo 1, check for update, download them and install them right away. No problems at all. I made my video. I talked about the very small change logs in regard to those updates. To sidestep here a little bit, I have not really noticed any difference at all. Everything seems to be exactly the same for me. The improved device stability, whatever, I'm not really feeling anything. It is what it is. Security update. Hopefully this means that we're getting ready for 12L very, very soon, like maybe next month or October. That would be really, really cool. Going back to the main point of the story, though, I started getting lots of comments from people who were saying that on their Duo 1, they had not gotten this update. They're checking for updates and they're just not getting it. So I made a poll and it's got almost 300 votes and 54% of people voted no. They have not gotten their August update yet. This is very, very weird. I've actually asked around a little bit and I can't really get any good answers as to what is going on here. We can open up the changelog here for Surface Duo and you can see August the 12th, this thing was supposed to be out. And I've gotten comments from people still, as of today when I'm filming this, saying I still haven't gotten this. So that is very, very strange. So the good news is this isn't like a substantial update. So it's not like missing out on anything really, really big. The bad news is you should already have it. And then does this indicate, you know, man, when 12L comes out, something big, this is going to happen again? Are you guys going to wind up waiting, sitting back and watching dummies like me play around with the new update and you guys don't have it yet? Very, very odd. I wish I had more to tell you about what's going on, why this has happened, but I can't get a response, a meaningful response, I should say, from anybody that I've been able to talk to. No one seems to have any idea what is going on here. It doesn't seem to be attached to your carrier, right? Because AT&T was the only carrier variant, and as you can see via these poll results here, I made sure to specify if you're not AT&T or if you are, and it's the not AT&T people broadly, although it's like 50-50 split with those people as well that are having these issues. So don't really know what's going on. Maybe comment down below if you have finally gotten it. We'll try to update everybody on this as we move forward. And this last story is just one that I thought was really, really interesting. I stumbled across someone on the internet who was taking an LG Wing. If you don't remember the LG Wing, I guess I should show you what I'm talking about. They were taking an LG Wing. They were using the internals as well as this lower screen. Right, I guess we're just scrapping this big boy. We're just going to use this lower screen. And they were building it into a handheld made for gaming. This thing, of course, runs Android, so you're free to go into the Play Store and download any game or emulator that you want. You can see the button layout there, how they have designed this thing. This is one of the strangest and coolest things I've saw somebody do in a really long time. Obviously, this would not be a cheap thing to do because you have to purchase an LG Wing and then convert it into this handheld, but they've made these custom shells. You still have access to your camera back there as well, which is crazy. Have they flipped it upside down maybe because your flash is up top? Have they flipped it? No, the flash was up top before already. This is insane. I would love to see a breakdown of exactly how this was done, but there is a YouTube video as well. You can see here, there's the LG Wing and some unnecessary shaking and some glitchiness there on the video, but there it is. There's a handheld made from that weird little screen on an LG Wing. I don't know. I don't know what it is about this that I really, really enjoy, but they're going to show here in a moment kind of playing some games on it. And I think it looks really, really good. There's the, you know, the camera still functions. Playing a Pokemon game via an emulator, it looks really good. It's very small. It's pocketable. It'd be pretty powerful, right? I forget what the chipset was that the LG Wing had. I believe it was like a 7 series Snapdragon processor. I may be wrong about that. But that's powerful enough to emulate whatever you want. There's a 3DS emulator running really, really well. This makes a really weird handheld. Obviously, the aspect ratio of the screen is really, really strange. It's taller than it is wide. But for DS emulation, that actually makes a ton of sense. Honestly, one of the cooler DIY projects I've seen in a while. Guys, that's all the news I have for you today. Big thanks to my YouTube members scrolling across the screen as we speak. You make this channel be able to persist as it has been. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.